Welcome to the Dowden Podcast. I'm your host, the official CRG, and today I want to talk about puberty and how it affects the brain differently between men and women. But before we get started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. That way you don't miss any weekly episodes and posts. You can find video of this episode strictly on YouTube, but the audio everywhere else. But the reason I want to talk about this today is because every single teen out there experiences changes in their brain when they go through puberty, having it alter emotions and feelings or heighten others, causing one to seek thrill and adrenaline. And before we even get started, I want to say this is strictly for biological knowledge and how things develop. Things can get misled of, oh, you're bashing one gender or you're talking about one more than another. This is specifically for educational purposes and how the brain actually works and develops when one is going through puberty. But with that said, what's actually interesting is that during puberty, men and women's brains actually develop differently. And I know I'm going to butcher these names, but actually, a woman's hippocampus, which is critical to learning and memorization, is much larger and works differently from a man's. Also, a man's amygdala, associated with the experiencing of emotions and recollection of such experiences, is much bigger and works differently from a woman's. For example, in 2019, scientists found that brain networks develop a lot more differently than they thought between males and females during puberty, with men showing an increase in connectivity in certain brain areas, and women showing a decrease in connectivity as puberty progresses, causing a risk for mood problems in adolescence. Also, between the ages of 15 and 25 years old, males start to exhibit a disproportionate mood for risky behaviors with higher risks of injury and death when compared to women around the same age. But that doesn't mean women don't get those emotions too, because they very well can. Plus, when it comes to depression, males and females have an equal rate before puberty, having it around 5%. However, when puberty starts, rates in females double, while males stay the same, causing more females to struggle more than usual. But lastly, when it comes to puberty and the brain, it can cause some problems, but overall, it's what really makes us, well, us, because without it, it would be very hard to learn and adapt. And I say that because puberty does a lot more than just change your physical features and moods. It also helps strengthen and fine tune the connection in our brains that allow for mature ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving. So, puberty affects men and women differently, causing different emotions and actions at different times, making it harder for any teen to not only deal with the physical and social part of it, but also the emotional. But with that said, today's quote is by Jack Teo. He once said, "Puberty is when your body asks questions that your brain cannot answer." I appreciate you tuning in. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And this is the Dowden Podcast.